stories we tell ourselves, the words that we use are so important. This applies to everybody, not just those that are living with a mental health condition. I urge you to think about what you're saying. There was a good book that I was reading recently called Lighter by young Pueblo, and he said, a lot of the times we think our true self is our first instinct of what we're going to say, but really the space between the stimulus and our response is where the power lies, and that's where we can really think about what we're saying, and that is our true self. National Institute of Health released an article in July of 2021. They found is that using the appropriate language to describe mental illness, to describe addiction, made a positive impact on those individuals that need treatment. %90 of individuals who have a history of addiction do not seek help. Very important for us to kick stigma out. Another issue with stigma is that individuals will have self-stigma as a result of general stigma. I've often said I've managed bipolar disorder. Management is you're moving on with life. If I go around saying that I am mentally ill or I am disordered, those are limiting to me and contribute to self-limiting beliefs. Let's talk about some of the words that we can exchange for some of the commonly used words in the mental health space.
Suffering has a negative vibe. I prefer to use the word suffering when I'm on my bike and I'm climbing up these hills. Okay, that's suffering in the legs. But just generally living with a condition is you're living, you're vibing, you're making it work, you're managing it. I discourage the word suffering or use it sparingly. So using the word unpredictable instead of crazy is a positive way to replace the word crazy. When you're talking about the weather, quite often people will talk about crazy and it refers to a negative connotation.
Disorder, illness. For sure, DSM codes, we need to, in order for somebody to get treatment for a particular issue, we put them in the spectrum of a disorder.
When I talk about replacing mental illness, mental disorder, whatever it may be, with the words mental health condition, I'm really talking about this in the long term and referring to the post-diagnosis period, because the diagnosis, it can be helpful to look in the manual, the DSM. Talking about is more of the long-term impact that using these phrases will have on your life, especially if you begin to identify with them. You begin to think, maybe I'm broken, maybe I will not be fixed, and it becomes part of us and part of our belief system. A lot of mental health conditions, they are rooted in some sort of trauma, triggered by trauma. So there are things that have happened to you in your life, in your experiences, that will bubble up and will trigger some mental health conditions, and your body is working the right way. It needed to protect itself. Your brain was using its natural defense mechanisms. It was working properly. You may be managing a condition now and you may have that forever, but you're not broken. Definitely not.
Join me in the war against words. Well, let's not say war, but join me in trying to change the language that we use in the mental health space. When you change language, you can really empower somebody to get the help that they need and not internalize everything.